I'm feeling a little fishy these days. Hey, welcome back. I know it's been a minute. I've been kind of spotty on the videos, but bear with me. The last 6 weeks I've worked 70 hours a week. It's the nature of the industry and the nature of the holiday season for, well, cooks. So I am going to start a little bit of a, we'll call it a series of videos based upon fish. So today I've got some nice haddock that I'm going to cook up, and but I'm going to do kind of something a little bit different. I'm going to go a little bit Asian flavors, but I'm also going to go back to a video, one of my first videos that I cringe every time I watch because I was so awkward and, well, just plain awkward. So we're going to harken back to smoked onions. I smoked a prime rib for my family for Christmas Day, and I smoked off a couple onions in that too. Might as well. So I'm gonna make a Asian style broth that I'm gonna serve with the haddock. So first thing, we need to make the broth. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take the outer layer of this. Again, that video will show you how to smoke off onions. Essentially, all I do is leave the ends, throw them in the smoker, you're done. So we'll clean these up just a bit. Give them just a little bit of a chop. It doesn't have to be perfect. Because all we want to do is extract the flavor from them. Okay? So they're going to go into our pot. They're already cooked because I hot smoked them. So I'm going to put them in there with some chicken stock. And we're going to flavor that up a bit too. So I got a quart of chicken stock. Now, if you can make your own, by all means do that. I've got another video for that, so look it up. Throw in a little bit of flavor. I got a clove of garlic. Just mash it up just a little bit. It's going in. Just a strip of lemon. I just want a little bit of citrus flavor into that. Ginger. I ground it up already. It's about a tablespoon. Sambol. I gotta get a spoon. Sambol Oelek is a hot chili paste. I'm gonna go with about a half a tablespoon of that. We'll put that in there. And I'm just going to go with a little bit of light soy sauce just to round out the flavors just a little bit. And there's going to be a little bit of salt in there. So that's probably about 2 tablespoons. We're going to bring that up to a boil. But while we're doing that, I'll be back in just a sec because we're going to talk about some additional flavors into it. Okay, I'm back. I've got some additional flavors. 1 Star Anise Pod. I got 4 cloves. I'm going to throw in a little bit of chili powder. I've got that sambol in there. That's going to provide quite a bit of heat, but this will add a little bit of flavor. This is ground anchos. Now remember, I'm going to throw in about a teaspoon of that. Remember, you can grind your own, or you can buy it ground. I like to grind my own. Now to finish it off, I'm going to throw in about, that's probably about 20 peppercorns. Whole peppercorns. If I threw in 20 ground peppercorns, that would be way too spicy and it would overwhelm my broth. Okay, I'm going to get this up to a simmer. We'll let it simmer probably about a half an hour or so. And while we're doing that, I'm going to work on a few other things. I have to apologize. I said haddock earlier. I got halibut. Forget what I said earlier. So part of this dish is we're going to have some nice mushrooms. I found some oyster mushrooms, one of my favorites. First thing we got to do is go through and check on them. You want to make sure that the stems aren't too big and woody. Like this one is a little bit big. I'm just going to trim that down just a little bit. That one looks, I can trim that down too. And this one, yeah, also. And these look pretty good. So they're going to go in there. We've got to cook those off. Oh, these goes in our broth. Great flavor in them. And we're going to strain that off too. So we've got our mushrooms in here. Going to hit them with a little bit of salt and pepper. And just a touch of olive oil. Mix them up, make sure the seasoning's well rounded. And we're just going to throw them on this little sheet pan. And I'm going to roast these off for about 5 minutes. Well, I'm going to start checking on them in 5 minutes. I want them to be nicely cooked, maybe a little bit of brown going on. I'll show you when I'm done. Next item to prep, I got some baby bok choy. I'm just going to cut this in half, and then I'm going to blanch it. But before I blanch it, these have got to be washed. Okay, they're washed. Now I left a little bit of the stem because I want it to hold together just a little bit. Now if only I had a hot liquid that I could blanch these off in. I'll do that. Only for a few seconds. Doesn't take very long for these. There. Blanched off just a few seconds in that broth, flavorful broth, might as well. Now to let these cool, because I'm going to cook them again when we assemble the dish. I'll go on to the final piece of, well, final two pieces of the puzzle, my halibut, and I've got some grape tomatoes. Oh, here we go. Look at how beautiful these are. These are the oyster mushrooms. Do you have to use oyster mushrooms? No, but they're one of my favorite mushrooms. You can use white button mushrooms. You can use creminis, shiitakes, whatever you have available. That works for me. These are my favorites. Oh, so let's talk about these grape tomatoes. We're just going to hit them with a little bit of oil. A little salt. A wee bit of pepper. Now these are ready to be charred. Okay, it's time to cook this fish. First thing we gotta do, of course, is season it. Got a little salt. A little bit of pepper. We'll flip it over, season the other side. There we go. I'll get my pan hot. And we're going to put a little bit of oil in the pan. Just enough to cover the bottom. That's olive oil. I'm going to throw in a little bit of sesame oil too, just for flavor. There we go. Wait for that to come up. Should start to see little wisps of smoke. With this setup, it will take seconds. This induction cooker top and this carbon steel pan only takes seconds. Now, I like to put the presentation side down first, because that way I can concentrate on getting the flavor set on that. Get a nice sear on that. Because the first thing you sear in a pan is always going to be the best. So we'll get that searing off now. Sorry about the interruption, my daughter called. So let's give this a flip. Nice little sear on that. Take a look at that. It's exactly what you want. Nice sear. It's going to go in the oven to finish cooking. And while that's going on, let's finish up the bok choy and the cherry tomatoes. Or grape tomatoes. So I've got a grill pan. Big heavy duty cast iron. You can do this on the grill if you want, or you can just do it in a saute pan. But I just want to get a little bit of color on this. Again, turn it on. And let's get our pan hot. But I want to get a little bit of oil on here, and drizzling oil on it is going to put way too much oil. It'll start burning, smoke will flare up, fire alarm will go off. So I'm just going to hit it with a little bit of no stick spray. That's all it takes. Get a nice sear on these. We'll get the tomatoes in there also. Remember, we want them to char too. Okay, the bok choy is ready. Got a little bit of a sear on there. I'll place it right in the middle of this bowl. We'll get the fish. There we go. Nice piece of fish. Place that on the bok choy. Now, I like to put the broth in. And I'm going to try to stay away from all the stuff that's in the broth, because you don't want a whole spice. Now, you can strain this and such like that. That would be perfect. But I'm just going to ladle that out. So let's get a few of these tomatoes and just scatter them around. Now some of our lovely mushrooms. Yes, I use the word lovely. Okay. There we have it. But could use something a little bit more. Hold on a second. Chives. Just a little garnish. There we have it. We got a pan-seared halibut with bok choy, a smoked onion broth, oyster mushrooms, and charred tomatoes. Stay tuned. I've got another fish dish that I'm going to do for next week, and then I'm going to probably do another one after that. So I'm kind of fishy these days. I'll see you next week. Oh, by the way, go down. All the ingredients are down there in the description. Check out these also. Oh, like, subscribe. You know the drill. I'll see you next week.